You saw me in previous videos take a pair of men's slacks and convert them into a nice khaki skirt. I'm going to show you how we take these jeans and convert them into a nice casual skirt. Now the technique is the same as we did with the men's pants, but with the jeans we're going to start by cutting off the bottom of the hem because this will make it easier to open up the seams. Now once that's done, you're going to open up the crotch. So I flip the pants on the jeans on the inside, and with jeans you get this nice little raised serge stitch kind of. And the good thing about this stitch is if you ever get it started, you can just pull it apart. So I opened it up down here at the bottom, and as you see, all you have to do is just pull this thread, and by pulling this thread you can take out the entire center of the jeans. Now isn't that simple and easy? Very simple. So I'm going to do that because they have two sets of stitches, so I'm going to do that with the other stitch as well. And then you can actually take the other side and just pull up the thread, and you can pull it off from the inside as well. Now that that stitch has been removed, look at that. Just open up the pant and it's all opened up. Now I've got the crotch area opened up. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up this portion of the crotch up to the zipper. So now I've got the crotch opened, and I did it on both sides, the front and the back. Now there's two ways you could do this. You could do it like we did the other skirt. And the other skirt I had, we did it because there were pleats, and because they're pleats you have more fabric in the hips. Well, in the jeans case you don't have these pleats, so you're either going to have a very fitted skirt, or you can do the technique I'm going to do here. It's where we take the crotch area and we cross it over here. And when you cross it over here, we're going to pin it in place because we're going to restitch that down. And you want to remove all these loose threads because when you stitch it, you want to make sure that you don't have any bulk threads under there. And besides, it'll look natural, kind of like it came that way. So I got that all done and got that pinned down in place. So I'm going to flip it over on the back. So we're going to do the same thing here with the back. You're going to take the stitch and you're going to move it over to where it will lay nice and flat and not curve as if there was a hip in there. And I'm going to cross it over like so, just like that. Okay, so I got that crossed over. Now what you want to do is you want to go ahead and go to your sewing machine and you want to go ahead and stitch this down. But as you notice on the denim jeans, I have a very nice decorative stitch. So I want to put that same decorative stitch here so it looks like it came that way. Here is the decorative stitch that I'm going to use. It's a denim thread and it's very, very thick. It's a lot thicker than normal thread, and you've seen me hem jeans with this. So we're going to do the same thing with this thread. I'm going to insert it under the machine. I'm going to start right where I took the thread out, and I'm just going to sew this down following the same area where the stitch came from before. So I'm going to stitch the thread down as well on the other side. Okay, now you see we've got that neat little decorative stitch there. Now it's where you want to decide where you want the skirt to end as far as the length goes. And I think in my case I want mine to be, I'm going to cut it 30 inches and then I'm going to do a denim hem on it. So I'm going to measure down 30 inches and going to put a pin there at my 30-inch mark, which is right here. And I'm just going to cut across at my 30-inch mark. So I'm just going to cut it right here. And I'm going to use this as a pattern to cut the other side. And I'm going to cut that one across as well. Okay, so now I have the length of the skirt that I want. But now you've got to take care of this little piece right here on front and the back. So I'm going to take my leftover piece of fabric and I'm going to put it up under here. And I want to make sure that the seam doesn't show, so I'm going to put it like this. So now my seam doesn't show. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin this into place. And you may find that when you do this, it may not be long enough. So I may have to cut the bottom off. As you see, I got just a little bit left over, which that's fine. I can cut that off. So I'm going to pin it in place. So now I've got that all pinned in place. And even though, you see that little crease line that you had in the front, that's okay, because I think later what I'm going to do is I'm going to dye this. But that's okay. It'll be fine. And you want to repeat the same thing on the back. And I've done the same thing for the back, pinned it in place as well. So now what you would do is you're going to follow this stitching on down like you did here. You're going to follow it down on both sides, on the front and the back. Okay, now I've got it stitched down. Like I said, you still see my little line here, but actually I kind of like that because it kind of gives you, lets you know that it was a recycled garment. And like I said, the good thing about this is you can dye this navy, or do a dark blue dye, and it will blend. This will blend right in. But we've got it done. We've got it done front. I have it also stitched in the back. So now what I'm going to do, because some of my pieces didn't come out quite even, so now is the time that I'm actually going to go and cut. And I've decided I'm going to cut it off so that it's a little shorter, but yet even as well. And I'm going to just cut this off. And like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. You can just cut it any way that you want to cut it. Whatever design and whatever shape that you want for your skirt. Now I just cut that off so I can kind of see the bottom. See how nice and neat that is. But you also want to fold this over like this. And you want to line up the left with the right to make sure when you cut it that they were cut even. And I think in my case they were cut pretty even, as you can see. Now we're going to deal with the inside. And we're going to flip it over because the inside looks pretty rough. And I did that on purpose because the reason I didn't cut the patch out first and insert it is because a lot of you are not familiar with how to insert a triangle. It can be very, very tricky. So what I'm going to do now, as you notice, I got these seams here. So I'm going to cut them even together. Just trim them down. And if you don't have a serger, you can just take these and zigzag them. But I'm going to serge mine because I do have a serger. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to flip this over. And I'm going to cut my excess fabric off so that it's all even. Now you see I've serged the excess fabric off of the insert that we did. This is the front and that's the back. So you see I got it all serged off so it's all nice and neat. And we'll flip this over. And now we're ready to hem our skirt. So I want to have that same nice little denim hem that I got here. I want that same hem on the bottom. So if you haven't seen me do this, you can go to my video on how to hem a pair of jeans. But I'm going to go ahead and just do a simple turn up, a double turn up, just like the bottom of your denim hem. And I'm going to stitch it on the right side because that's where my decorative stitch is. It's on the upper thread of the sewing machine. So now I've done the nice little decorative denim hem, and I used a navy on the bottom so it will blend in and make the upper or the top stitch thread look even darker. So now I'm going to press it and our project will be done. So now our skirt is complete, and you can do this technique where we crossed over the crotch, or you can do the technique that I did with this pair of jeans where instead of crossing over the crotch, I just stitched it up down the center, and when I got to the back, I simply added a split. It's like an open split, but it'll work because it gives you more room to move because now you have a pencil skirt. I hope that you try this technique, and I hope you go in your closet and pull out all those jeans that you don't wear anymore and convert them into cool skirts. Happy sewing!